In Washington, 1983, tensions flare as protesters gather outside the Grand Hotel, demanding the ousting and trial of South Korea's president, denouncing him as a dictator. Amid the chaos, a high-stakes security operation unfolds, spearheaded by Pyong-ho, head of the Foreign Intelligence Unit, and Young-do, leader of domestic intelligence. Despite their efforts, the agents are powerless to disperse the demonstration without official authorization. Adding to the commotion, intrepid reporter Kong circles the scene, eager for an exclusive interview. To keep him at bay, Pyong-ho's sharp-witted assistant, Ju Kyung, steps in, skillfully distracting the journalist and steering him away from the unfolding drama. In a tense meeting, Director of Intelligence unfaces the East Asia CIA director, who criticizes the South Korean president for the chaos erupting outside. An, however, staunchly defends his leader, citing efforts to amend the Constitution. The tension escalates when CIA agents intercept urgent intel about a sniper, hidden in the theater across the street, plotting to assassinate the president. The president's convoy is halted immediately, and agents storm the theater to intercept the threat. A deadly chase ensues as the sniper flees, triggering a fierce exchange of gunfire that claims the lives of several agents in a desperate bid to prevent a catastrophic attack. Amid the chaos, Pyong-ho is injured when the sniper hurls a grenade, but his determination pushes him forward. He catches up to the sniper and grapples with him, only to be taken hostage in the struggle. Despite Pyong-ho's plea to capture the man alive, Young-do steps in and fatally shoots the sniper, laying the blame on Pyong-ho for allowing himself to be captured. Meanwhile, in South Korea, the unrest mirrors the chaos abroad as protesters flood the streets, clashing with police who respond with tear gas and violence. As frightened civilians lock their doors, Pyong-ho's idealistic protege, Yu Jang, defies fear by opening a gate, offering refuge to those seeking safety amidst the turmoil. The plan fails disastrously, and everyone is arrested. When Pyong-ho returns home and learns of the incident, he uses his influence to secure Yu Jang's release from the police station. Arriving to pick her up, he finds her accompanied by a group of young protesters, determined to feed them despite the risks. Disapproving of her rebellious circle, Pyong-ho expresses his frustration, but Yu Jang remains unfazed. Resigned, he leaves her money for expenses and departs in frustration. The following day, Director On summons Pyong-ho and Young-do, ready to brief them on their next critical mission. The president is furious over the failure to uncover who orchestrated the attack, demanding unified efforts to get answers. Suspicion centers on Professor Shin, a member of the Washington delegation, believed to be Dong-lim, the elusive leader of a North Korean espionage cell. Director On intensifies the pressure, presenting the president's itinerary for an upcoming visit to Japan, requiring both Pyong-ho and Young-do to approve it. Determined to extract the truth, Young-do interrogates Professor Shin with brutal intensity, yet Shin adamantly denies being a spy, leaving the agents grappling with doubts and unanswered questions. In a quiet but chilling moment, a mysterious man on a bicycle retrieves a shirt from a laundry shop, decoding secret information stitched into the seams, a cunning method by which the real Dong-lim has been smuggling intel from deep inside. That evening, Young-do invites Pyong-ho to dinner at his apartment, where tension simmers beneath the surface. The atmosphere turns awkward when Pyong-ho's wife innocently remarks that she thought the two were close friends, unaware of the animosity between them. Their strained relationship stems from a past mission where Young-do's ruthless interrogation left Pyong-ho with a hand injury that took months to heal, a bitter memory neither can forget. Pyong-ho receives an urgent call that changes everything. Secret talks between North Korea and Japan on colonial reparations are underway, and a high-ranking official, Professor Payo, is seeking to defect. The stakes are immense. Payo offers blueprints for a nuclear reactor, R&D files, and a list of researchers in exchange for asylum. Realizing the significance, Pyong-ho swiftly issues orders to locate Payo before the Japanese or Dong-lim's agents can reach him. When contact is finally made, Payo ups the ante, demanding protection for himself and his family in return for critical intel on the elusive Donglim, setting the stage for a high-stakes race against time. Initially hesitant to reveal anything over the phone, fearing Donglim's presence as a mole within the agency, Professor Payo eventually shares a small but crucial detail to earn trust. Spec Ops for 117 is set to infiltrate the North to gather nuclear intel. The agents scramble to stop the mission, but it's too late. The information has already been leaked, leading to the unit's annihilation and confirming the existence of a traitor in their ranks. Later in Tokyo, the agents shadow Payo, who carries a suitcase filled with the vital intel they need. Tension rises when they spot him surrounded by North Korean intelligence agents. Acting quickly, Pyong-ho instructs Agent Yang to protect Pyo's family while he pursues Payo himself, setting up a perilous confrontation. Defying Pyong-ho's orders, Yang goes after Payo instead of protecting his family, acting under secret instructions from Director An, who prioritizes uncovering Donglim's identity above all else, believing it could secure a promotion. As Pyong-ho safely escorts Pyo's family, Yang corners Payo, demanding intel on Donglim's identity in exchange for his rescue. Pressured, Payo reveals dates and locations where Donglim met with someone called Chief Lee, giving the agents a lead they can cross-check with flight logs. Satisfied, Yang allows Payo into the car and begins the escape, but their movements don't go unnoticed. North Korean agents spot them and unleash a hail of gunfire, igniting a deadly pursuit. The enemy intercepts Yang's escape, dragging Payo from the car and killing him on the spot. Chaos erupts as the two agencies clash in a brutal gunfight on the street. Hearing of the disaster, Pyong-ho makes a desperate decision. He forces Pyo's family out of his van and races back into the fray to rescue Yang and the remaining agents. Though he manages to extract them, Yang is gravely injured and falls into a coma. Days later, Pyong-ho returns to the agency, only to face a furious Director An, who berates him for the string of failed missions. But Pyong-ho reaches his breaking point, firing back that An's poor judgment cost them an entire unit, and that Yang's actions stemmed from conflicting orders, exposing the cracks in their leadership. Pyong-ho confronts Director An, revealing he has evidence of An taking bribes, a damning accusation that sends An into a violent rage. However, Pyong-ho stands his ground, striking back and threatening to take the information to the president unless An steps down. Later that evening, Pyong-ho finds Yujang once again amidst the protesters, and when a heated argument erupts, he steps in to rescue her from a brewing fight. Scolding her for her choice of companions, Yujang retorts that he's no better for working for a corrupt government agency. Her words sting, bringing back painful memories for Pyong-ho of a mission 3 years ago, when he lost his partner in a deadly crossfire that still haunts him. Before his death, the agent had revealed his true mission, to protect Yujang, a revelation that still lingers in Pyong-ho's mind. At the man's funeral, Yujang arrived, tearfully calling him father, a moment that cemented Pyong-ho's resolve to keep a watchful eye on her. A few days later, a new director takes the helm of the agency, announcing hefty rewards for anyone who can provide intelligence on North Korean spies, vowing to prevent them from sabotaging their plans further. As the interrogations grow increasingly brutal, Young-do begins to feel the weight of their futility, sensing that despite the violence, they are no closer to uncovering the truth. Haunted by nightmares of his violent past in the military, Young-do returns home, unable to escape the memories of the chaos and bloodshed he was once forced to inflict. The next day, the new director meets with him, presenting an order from the president giving Young-do full authority to interrogate agents to root out the mole. Acting swiftly, Young-do begins interrogating members of the Foreign Intelligence Unit, as the evidence seems to point in that direction. When Pyong-ho hears about the drastic measures, he storms in to stop it, expressing his unwavering trust in his team and his refusal to allow his unit to be treated like criminals. This sparks a heated argument between the two, but their confrontation is abruptly cut short by urgent news. A North Korean fighter jet has entered South Korean airspace. The North Korean pilot is captured with surprising ease, but the agents are stunned to learn that he possesses detailed knowledge of their missile and air defense systems. Once brought to the agency, the pilot spends hours ranting and complaining about the government, even pulling out his own gun in frustration. Just when it seems like they've hit a dead end, he finally reveals Russia's latest cipher, the key to passing secret information. With this code, the agents now have the means to finally track down the elusive mole within their ranks. The director imposes a 48-hour Code 3 to capture the mole, and Pyong-ho takes extra precautions, ordering his men to funnel all new intel through him first. As the entire agency works tirelessly to decode the cipher, they uncover vital information, including the location of hidden weapon storage. Meanwhile, Ju-kyung brings Pyong-ho troubling intel about a mishap involving a large sum of money that was never delivered by the police department. Young-do had attempted to send the suspect to Pyong-ho's unit, but the man never arrived. The money was supposed to go to a military supply contractor named Jupiter Corp., raising more questions and suspicions about the mole's involvement. Despite the information about the president's upcoming trip being classified as top secret, it falls into the wrong hands. Meanwhile, Ju-kyung visits Jupiter Corp in search of clues, while the agency continues decoding the cipher. Their efforts lead them to a man named Bio-san, who is responsible for picking up shirts with the secret coded stitches. Young-do and his team tail Bio-san to a laundry shop, hoping to ambush him, but Bio-san is already aware of their presence. A tense standoff erupts, and another fierce gunfight ensues as both sides battle for control of the critical intel. Surrounded and with no way out, Bio-san hurls a grenade, causing a massive explosion that obliterates the building, allowing him to escape unnoticed. He then meets with a woman, handing her an envelope containing the president's itinerary. The woman swiftly sends the information to North Korea using a different code, deepening the conspiracy. Meanwhile, Ju-kyung brings alarming news to Pyong-ho. Jupiter Corp's military transactions have surged by 600% in just 2 years, and Young-do is closely involved with the company. To make matters worse, Young-do's investigation into the mole is escalating, and Pyong-ho knows it's only a matter of time before he becomes the next target for interrogation. Focused on Jupiter Corp for the time being, Pyong-ho leads his team in a raid, uncovering evidence of misappropriated funds and discovering that the CEO is an old army friend of Young-do. Meanwhile, Young-do receives the news that the Japan summit has been canceled due to the laundry incident, but the president's Asia tour will continue. The realization hits if the enemy knew about the Japan summit. The mole must be a high-ranking official. Furious that Pyong-ho has been digging into his past, Young-do orders his men to place Pyong-ho under 24/7 surveillance. Later, the enemy receives word that the Japan summit is off, but the larger game is far from over. Pyong-ho reluctantly agrees to meet Yu Jeng for dinner, where she asks him for a favor, to use his influence to free some of her freedom fighter friends from prison. However, Pyong-ho is disgusted by the request and storms off, leaving Yu Jeng vulnerable. Alone and without help, she is soon arrested by Young-do's men. At the agency, Yu Jeng is subjected to harsh interrogation, with Young-do and his team repeatedly emphasizing that she is a North Korean who entered the South under a new identity. The brutality intensifies as they try to break her, digging into her past in an effort to force her confession. During the interrogation, the agents present pictures of Yu Jeng near a North Korean Labor Party's special facility, where spies like Bio-san are trained, but there's no evidence to support the claim that the deceased agent was actually her father. Just as the pressure mounts, Pyong-ho bursts into the room, furious over being investigated and seeing his protege in custody. In response, Young-do presents the pictures along with the evidence, forcing Pyong-ho into a corner. Realizing he has no choice, Pyong-ho pretends to be angry at Yu Jeng for deceiving him, but as he turns away, he quietly tells her to play along, promising to find a way to rescue her. As Pyong-ho is leaving, he witnesses the brutal interrogation of a man, his frustration boiling over as he beats the agent in anger. Later, Agent Yang finally regains consciousness and reveals that Donglim had met with Chief Lee, prompting Young-do to immediately move him to a more secure room. A race ensues between Pyong-ho's and Young-do's teams to reach Yang first, and as they clash in the corridors, a sniper takes the opportunity to kill Yang while he sleeps. The agents hear the gunshots and open fire on the sniper, but he escapes with ease. At that moment, Yang's daughter arrives to see her father, only to collapse in shock when she discovers his lifeless body. At Yang's funeral, Young-do learns that the Chief Lee Yang mentioned is the head of the strategic unit at North Korea's Labor Party 35, with their flight logs in hand. The agents now need to compare them to their own agents' flight records to identify the mole. Meanwhile, Ju-kyung informs Pyong-ho that former Director Un was ousted for failing to support the president's coup, and though funds from Jupiter were funneled to him, Un is now under house arrest. His only visitor has been Young-do. Later, the new director pressures Pyong-ho and Young-do to wrap up their investigations quickly, warning them that there will be serious consequences if they fail before the president embarks on his tour. After leaving the director's office, tensions between Pyong-ho and Young-do reach a boiling point as they argue over their suspicions of each other. Young-do believes Pyong-ho is Donglim, while Pyong-ho accuses Young-do of being a spy funder. Their argument escalates into a brutal fistfight that sends them tumbling down the stairs, only stopping when they realize they're being watched. Later, Young-do struggles with resurfacing memories of his past as a soldier, haunted by constant reminders of his army buddy from Jupiter, which only intensify the guilt he carries from his past actions. The massacre had been ordered by the current president, a truth that haunts Young-do. Later, he meets with the East Asia CIA director, who pressures him to drop his investigation and relocate to the USA, revealing that they already know about Operation Hunt Peter. Meanwhile, Ju-kyung, unaware that Jang, one of Young-do's men, is still tailing her, takes the new intel to Pyong-ho's house. She's brought recordings of conversations between Young-do and Director Un, which expose Young-do's secret alliance with Jupiter. The recordings reveal his plans to start a revolution, fueled by his hatred for the president's brutal actions during the massacre and the ongoing suffering he's causing the people. Operation Hunt Peter, the mission to assassinate the president, has been orchestrated by Young-do all along. However, Ju-kyung is still puzzled because the travel logs she has for Young-do don't align with those of the mole, so she double-checks them and is shocked to discover that the true mole, Donglim, is actually Pyong-ho. Realizing the truth, Ju-kyung becomes a target, and Pyong-ho hunts her down, ultimately killing her after she misses a few shots. Afterward, Pyong-ho uses a special phone to contact his informants. Meanwhile, Young-do, who has just been offered a position by the CIA director, refuses, standing firm in his resolve not to support a president who will kill even innocent children. As Young-do exits the restaurant, he receives a call from Jang, confirming that Pyong-ho is indeed Donglim and that he's killed Ju-kyung. Now, Pyong-ho is on his way to a secret meeting, prompting Young-do to order his agents to follow him until backup arrives. Moments later, Pyong-ho meets with an informant, handing over the president's revised itinerary. After the meeting ends, Pyong-ho leaves and Jang moves in to apprehend him. However, before Jang can make his move, both he and Pyong-ho are ambushed and knocked out by a group of mysterious men. When Pyong-ho wakes up, he initially believes he has been captured by Young-do's men, as they relentlessly torture him for information. However, after they kill Jang to force him to talk, Pyong-ho realizes that his captors are working with the head of the North Korean Armed Forces Ministry, including Bio-san and the woman who had been sending the messages. It is revealed that Pyong-ho had once been part of a group aiming for a peaceful revolution, but internal conflicts have torn the group apart, and now those in charge want to ignite an all-out war. Pyong-ho's new mission is to stay with the president during his tour, creating an opportunity for their snipers to assassinate him. But Pyong-ho refuses, determined not to bring war and suffering to his country. The woman beats Pyong-ho for disobeying and is about to kill him when, just in time, Young-do and his men crash a car into the room and open fire, rescuing Pyong-ho. As she dies, the woman starts burning the papers, and when Young-do rushes to save them, he discovers that Pyong-ho, as Donglim, has been supporting a peaceful revolution. In that moment, both men realize they want the same thing, an end to their people's suffering. To Pyong-ho's shock, Young-do, instead of saving the papers, chooses to burn them, leaving their shared vision to die with them. Young-do announces to his men that Jang was Donglim and is now dead, but in exchange, he asks Pyong-ho to help him rescue the men arrested at Jupiter. Shortly after, Young-do visits his army friend, who is being violently interrogated, and pretends he's there for questioning. However, he soon realizes that his friend is subtly communicating in code, signaling that he wants to end his life. Understanding his friend's wish, Young-do, while still pretending to extract information, uses the electrocution method to kill him, honoring his final request in the most tragic of ways. Afterward, Young-do meets with his old army comrades who were involved in Operation Hunt Peter, telling them that the task of killing the president will now be left to North Korea, although the group is reluctant to work alongside them. Young-do reminds them that sometimes they must make difficult choices to prevent further suffering. Meanwhile, Pyong-ho finally manages to free Yoo-jang, giving her money to escape to the south where she will be safe while waiting for him. A few days later, in Bangkok, North Korean soldiers prepare for an invasion, marking the tense beginning of a new chapter. Pyong-ho and Young-do join the presidential entourage, but Pyong-ho is plagued with worries about the inevitable war that will follow the president's assassination. Young-do, however, reminds him that peace has never brought about true change. Just as tensions rise, a car with an ambassador approaches, forcing the agents into a frantic race to stop it from drawing too much attention, or the snipers will mistake it for the president and kill the wrong target. When the president finally arrives, reporter Kang approaches Pyong-ho to congratulate him on a job well done, only to reveal he's a North Korean spy, sending a chill through Pyong-ho's spine. In a sudden burst of violence, Pyong-ho steals a weapon from a guard and shoots Kang on the spot, realizing the extreme lengths North Korea is willing to go to. Determined to prevent further bloodshed, he runs outside, warning everyone about the snipers hiding in the trees, and chaos erupts as he and the soldiers engage in a fierce gunfight with the North Korean team. Meanwhile, the new director orders Young-do to protect the president, but in a shocking turn, Young-do kills him without hesitation. As he attempts to reach the president, his shots are blocked by the protective glass, and when he finally breaks through, Pyong-ho pushes him away, determined to stop the assassination at all costs. As the president's car speeds away, Young-do races to follow while a soldier lands on the president's vehicle, but Pyong-ho shoots him before he can take any action. In a desperate move, Young-do crashes his car into the president's, forcing it to stop, and drags the president out with plans to kill him in front of everyone. Just as he's about to pull the trigger, Kang, who is surprisingly still alive, activates a bomb he brought with him, causing a massive explosion that rocks the area. Pyong-ho is knocked unconscious for a few seconds, and when he regains his senses, he finds the president is unharmed and being swiftly escorted away. Pyong-ho hears Young-do calling for him, and when he rushes to check, he finds his former ally gravely wounded with a massive chest injury. Pyong-ho desperately tries to cover the wound, but despite his efforts, Young-do succumbs to the injury, questioning why Pyong-ho had ruined the operation. Returning to Korea, Pyong-ho orders his men to release Young-do's family, who had been arrested under suspicion of aiding him. He also sends Young-do's military tags to his wife, witnessing her heartbreaking breakdown as she realizes their significance. Later, Pyong-ho travels to the south to reunite with Yoo-jang, only for her to pull a gun on him, revealing that Young-do had been right all along. She had been a spy. Yoo-jang hesitates, unable to pull the trigger on the man who had cared for her, and in that moment, another spy steps in to finish the job. As Pyong-ho lies dying, he hands her a new passport, silently offering her a chance at a better life. When Yoo-jang opens it, Her tears fall as she sees that Pyong-ho, in his final act, gave her his last name, a gesture that speaks volumes about the bond they shared.